matter, and they really fucking matter. There's like 4 things that matter, and they really fucking matter. I mean, objectively, I mean, you should care, especially you, if you thought about it for 5 fucking minutes.
Welcome to episode 28 of the Otter Voices podcast. Here is your hosts, Keem and Esme.
Yay!
As always, I changed it up a little bit. I usually go as always. This is your host, but change it up a little bit because why not? We are recording this in what has to be a very emotionally and mentally and physically turbulent time.
Mm-hmm.
Because, news has been fucking just insane.
Yeah.
And we've been battling people on all sides.
Mostly on Facebook.
Mostly on Facebook because that's what we have. Some in real life. So I have anyway. We don't have to talk about what's happening current right now. I mean, pretty much everyone listening knows. So we're going to move into the news segment from something a little different. I wouldn't say that it's more upbeat, but hey, there it is. This is what today is. So, you want to go first, or should I go first?
I'll go first. So my news story today is coming out of Alabama, where a judge in Alabama has ruled unconstitutional a law that prohibits any teacher from having a sexual relationship with any high school student who is under the age of 19. And the reason that this has been ruled unconstitutional is because in Alabama, the age of consent is 16. So it is legal in Alabama for any adult to have a relationship with any young person who is 16 or older, except under this law that has now been ruled unconstitutional, if the younger person is a high school student and the older person is a teacher of any kind at any school. And this has been ruled unconstitutional because the judge ruled that it's overly broad. It's not specific enough, right? It doesn't specify, like, these two people could be from opposite sides of the state and have had no previous relationship, no way of knowing one another, and this teacher could have no direct influence over this student, but it is still illegal for that relationship to happen, and so the judge has ruled this unconstitutional, which I don't know. What do you think about this law?
Well, we were talking about it literally right before this. In college, and in most colleges this is the case, if a teacher is found out having a relationship with a student, that teacher is going to get in serious trouble. In most cases, lose their job because it presents.
You say that, but there's a lot of shit that went down at my college that professors didn't get in trouble for.
They should, they should, and in most cases that rule is in place, whether it's enforced or not. That rule is in place because it presents an ethical dilemma. When a person in a position of power over someone else is in a relationship, because you can manipulate that in any way.
Yeah.
Now, bringing that down to a high school level, any teacher, whether it be in the school or in another school or whatever, any teacher that's in that state is always going to be in a position of authority over a student. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
Because it has to be the same school. And that, once again, presents an ethical dilemma. You can't do that. You shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
And also, I'm sorry, for 16 to 19, you're still a child. Even though the age of consent...
I would argue that under 25, you're
Yeah.
still a child.
I've argued that recently. Because your brain is still developing. You haven't developed your adult brain yet. You are still very easily controlled.
Yes.
Because you are, in fact, still an adolescent. But in this case, 16 to 19 is a very, very, delicate stage in development. You are not an adult. And generally, children can't give consent. It's going to be really hard to justify a 16 through 19-year-old giving consent to a teacher, because a teacher is always going to be in a position of authority that can basically sway them to do whatever.
Yeah.
So you really, really can't just, you can't discern that that child has given consent. And that makes it, in most cases, illegal, except for in Alabama.
Well, no, there's something like almost half the states, the age
Yeah.
of consent is 16.
I know, but it was specifically Alabama. And I have a big problem with the age of consent being 16. Because, man, at 16, I was dumb as hell.
Yes.
I would consent. I would have done, if any attractive, and in my case, woman, came to me and was just like, hey, do this, I would have done it, because I'm 16 and dumb. You know, I'm not developed. I haven't developed those processes yet to discern such things. So I can't really give consent, because even if I didn't want to do it, I would have felt pressure to do it, because I'm 16. So, like I said, all that is, I have a big problem with the age of consent being 16. 16-year-olds can't decide shit. Sorry, 16-year-olds can't decide shit.
Here's an interesting question that I just thought of when you were going on about people in positions of authority. If you, as a person in a position of authority over somebody, should not date them or should not attempt to start a relationship with them because you might be unwittingly using your position of authority to manipulate them, how do cops date?
That is a very interesting question. Because in a lot of cases, the law enforcement, if you look at data on law enforcement, they have high rates, very high rates of infidelity, of abuse, domestic violence.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if you need to answer for your question, that's cops have a very difficult time dating and having relationships. And in a lot of cases, it goes way, way wrong because they have that power, they have that authority. And it causes relationships to go funky. I know someone, I'm not going to say who was in a relationship with a police officer, and of course, it went from being everything's good to all the infidelity in the world because I can do this, mm-hmm. and all the arguing and stuff in the world because I can do this, and it happens over and over and over again. So, I mean, and I'm sure there are police officers out there that do it. I mean, they have successful marriages or successful relationships, so on and so forth. I'm not saying it's impossible, but statistically, it's a lot harder to maintain maintain those healthy relationships. Being a police officer.
Yeah. Anyway, that was my interesting question that came up.
It's the same as like you working at a company and your manager asks you out. You can't do that.
Yeah.
Because even if they could be the most altruistic person in the world, they could be, just innocent as whatever, but they still the possibility and probability of them using their place to manipulate if something goes wrong is high.
Here's the thing, though, with this thing with the teachers, though, the reason that it was ruled unconstitutional, it's because it was like, so say you're talking about like a McDonald's franchise, right? And in this instance, a teacher dating a student at the same school would be like the manager of the McDonald's franchise dating one of the employees, right? Obviously, that's an abuse of power. But the reason that this law was ruled unconstitutional is because the judge didn't feel that it was fair to do something like the manager of this McDonald's franchise asking out somebody who works at a McDonald's franchise on the other side of town.
But though
they're not in a position of direct authority. And I get what you're saying, and I agree with you that like a teacher has a specific role in society to where that is a position of power and a position of perceived authority, whether or not they directly are responsible for the student.
Here's the second thing. You have the issue of strata. A teacher over here and a teacher over here, let's say the teacher here has direct control of a student.
Yeah.
And the teacher over here may want to date the student. Those teachers are on the same strata. They're on the same strata. They're likely going to be in the same circles. Even if they're not in the same school, they could be outside the state. But there's still a high possibility that those teachers will interact with one another in some shape, form, or fashion. Just like, because, you have unions, you have all these things where teachers, like people of the same group, come together.
Yeah.
So, while there is the possibility that they couldn't, there is a higher possibility that they will. And one person can influence another. So let's say this teacher over here is dating a student, and that teacher and the student are having, the teacher is dating a student at another school, and they start having issues. Okay, well, let's say there's some kind of state teachers meeting where they go and discuss things for having to do with public education or something, or whatever. And these two teachers are in the same vicinity, and they go out for a drink afterward or something, and they're chatting, and alcohol looses lips. So you're sitting there talking, and that teacher is telling them about their relationship problems, and they mention the name of who it is. Well, the other teacher's student, that teacher who's dating is now telling them very personal things about that student that could affect how that teacher views their student.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not defending this. I am saying that this is a very vague, weird law, and I can see why they ruled this one unconstitutional. But I think that this is just, they need to use this as an opportunity to
look
at it and figure out how to write the law better, because this is a law that should exist.
Right.
This is a law that should exist. It was just poorly stated. Obviously, if it was unconstitutional.
I think the writers of the law went in going, this shouldn't have to be stated. Yeah. Like, this is something everybody should know and should be okay with. Like, we should know the teachers should be dating students. Like, this is not something that should be debated upon.
Yeah.
And they wrote that like that. It's like, this is common sense, but it's it's more complicated than that.
Yeah.
And when the judge is like, "Hey, this is more complicated than that. You didn't write this. You didn't do this enough." It was just like, oh shit moment. Like, oh damn, I could see how somebody could use this. So yeah.
Yeah. Your turn.
We're continuing on the the possible line of sexual abuse. Rapper Lil Boosie. Oh, sorry, I don't think he's Lil Boosie anymore. I think he calls himself Boosie Badazz now, like fully. Because once you're like 40, you can't be Lil anymore.
Are you sure?
Yeah. But Boosie, as of a few days ago, on Twitter, sending a happy birthday message out to his son. And he is quoted as saying he was going to get his son head from a bad bitch. Which, would normally be, fine if his child wasn't 14.
God.
So, of course, people who have a lick of common sense called Boosie out on this message, because what he's literally promoting is child sexual abuse.
Yes.
You cannot pay a woman or pay a sex worker or pay anyone to give your child oral sex.
Or even ask. There doesn't have to be payment involved. It's still abuse.
Yeah, it's still abuse. Because, as I've stated earlier, children cannot give consent.
Yeah.
A 14-year-old is a child.
Yes.
So, people, of course, called them out on this. And, of course, he immediately backpedals. And his defense is, he was just joking. This was just a Instagram, Twitter, little, haha, jest, it's funny, I'm just playing around. However, after he said he was just clowning around on Instagram, he continued on, and I quote, "But if he wants to get head from a girl, he's 14 years old. I'm cool with it. Fucking is popular at 14, 15 years old. That's when they be in heat." Okay. First of all, no, I'm going to skip right to the end. You just said a 14, 15-year-old is in heat. Dude, that is what pedophiles use to justify pedophilia right there. Like, straight up, like I've heard it 1,000 times where abusers have gone and said, well, the child seduced me because the child wants it, because they're teenagers, and teenagers have sex and they want sex, and they seduce adults. I did a lot. That is fucked up, man.
Here's the thing, though. No. Okay? Teenagers? Yeah. Teenagers want sex. That's okay. Teenagers want sex. I don't think that we're gonna get anywhere by claiming that teenagers don't want to have sex.
Yeah, because,
right?
Puberty just hit.
Right. But you're an adult. Don't interact with a teenager's sexuality. Let them have their sexuality to themselves, and don't you get your adult ass involved in it.
Right.
Except to help them know how to deal with that as responsibly as possible, given that they're a fucking teenager and they're stupid as fuck.
Because if you get your adult ass involved in it, you are committing sexual abuse.
Yes.
Okay, let's put down a scenario here. Your 14-year-old son, whatever, he's, developing his sexuality. What if your 14-year-old son decides, you know what? I'm into guys. I am into men. I'm a 14-year-old, and I think I may be homosexual. Because you're not trying to decide, of course. You're developing sexual feelings. Here's your father coming and goes, I am going to get you an adult woman to come blow you. Well, you just... Sorry.
Yeah, no, this is unnecessarily detailed, Keem. This is unnecessarily detailed. You don't have to go detail all of the ways that this is fucked up, because this is fucked up, because you are getting an adult person to interact sexually with a child, and that's fucked up.
And people, like, child services, you know, okay, Boosie said, oh, I'm just jesting and blah, blah, blah. He didn't say jesting. I'm pretty sure he didn't use a word that, complicated. But someone needs to go investigate this home. Like, because this is not something that needs to be let go. This is not something you can just joke away. You just, like, you said you were basically going to commit, like, a sex crime against your child. That's not a joke. That's not clowning around. And stop with this, oh, he's a teenage boy. Like, this is how teenage boys, and especially, this is how teenage boys get raped. Like, this is how teenage boys get raped, and they can never talk about it.
Yeah. Because he's supposed to be excited to do this thing with a grown-ass adult, right? He cannot consent.
Right.
He cannot consent.
Like, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care how you flip it. I don't care. Oh, well, boys just being boys. I don't care how you do it. That child is getting raped. Like, yes. That's what it is. It cannot give consent. You are a person, an adult, that has power over them, and you're using it against them.
Yeah.
Like, just, and back to the teachers and the students. You can't do that.
Yeah. It's
fucked up. And I know too many young men, and even older men now, who always claim, like, their first sexual experience was when they're 14, when this adult raped them. And they talk about it like, oh, I whatever, and like, oh, it's when I became a man, and blah, blah, blah. No, you were raped. You were taken advantage of. You did not decide you were going to do that. Because you can't. You're a child. You were a child. And now you live in denial, and you're probably, in most cases, these guys have some very deep sexual issues.
Yeah.
That express in a myriad of ways, but you are not okay. Like, something happened to you that was not okay.
Yep. Anyway,
sorry. That really hit me in a very, very bad area.
I see that.
Because, like I said, I know too many, especially young black men. Because it happens a lot in the black community. I can't speak for any other community. I can't speak for white people, Asians, whatever. But it happens a lot in the black community where, whether it be a misguided father or something taking their son to meet the local hooker, or the local, I guess nowadays they call them thoughts. I hate that word.
I know, right?
But the local chicken head for old school people, to get their first sexual experience. No, you're having your child raped. Like, that's what it's for. And it's going to lead to severe problems later in life. That's just what's going to happen. And it's causing a generation of men to further these cycles, have horrible relationships with their significant others, with other women, with other men, with their children. And it keeps going over and over again. This is something that has to stop. Like, and once again, it also goes back to the toxic masculinity thing that's rampant in not just society in general, but really just ridiculously rampant in the black community. We are harming our children. We are harming our young men and women. Mm-hmm. And we have to stop this bullshit. Like, you have to stop. You have to stop raping children. You have to stop sexually abusing children under the guise of they wanted it or this is what they should be getting. Because it's not. It's just not. Stop. Sorry.
No, don't apologize. You're absolutely right.
Oh, it just makes it makes me so fucking angry. God. So I guess that brings us to our musical guests and the topic segment.
Yay!
Everything I talk about, I do it, I don't have to brag. But if I did, I wouldn't be lying, so let's not talk about that. If you knew just what a hustle was, you probably wouldn't be so sad. I'm just working hard to make my pockets fat. All I try to be is positive, my glass is almost full. We not living in Chicago, so get off my phone with all that bull. Treat people how you think is right and remember the golden rule. And don't trust any of these uneducated fools. Just stack your cake up. It happens every day I wake up. All these folks is talking about love, but me and money will never break up. Gotta keep your grass trimmed, or you'll be pulling snakes up. And if you mess with my crew or my money, I mess your face up. I'm too busy making money, got no time to play around. All I wanna do is feed my family, so I put it down. My name is on so many people's tongue, I'm famous around this town. But either way, I'm getting paid, so go on and run your mouth. Better days, that's what I asked for. Grinding in so many ways. I hustle so fast for my chips and I'm stacking my legs. So why you mad for it? Because being broke is cliche. So stack some cash, boy. I just wanna see my people make it. The struggle ain't for me. So we out here grinding for that check. Ain't nothing in this world free. I'm just trying to live my life and be the best that I can be. But I can show you better than I can tell you. So just wait and see. I can't go broke, not no more. Sooner or later I'll have enough to throw. That's the goal, to stack my dough, mature a bit and increase my flow. I'm making paper, I'm not home asleep, and I'm making my pockets grow. And I might not act like it, but yes, I know. See, I'll say none, I don't say much, but my mind is at ease, it's all for fun. That such and such is such a breeze, you lost, I won. You got a problem, talk to these nuts, I'm done playing round, I guarantee.
Welcome back to our topic segment for today. And so with everything that's going on, there's been something that I guess I'm gonna fall on a very weird side to a lot of people on this argument as I go on. But so in recent weeks, Game of Thrones has premiered.
Yeah. I mean, that's what Facebook tells me.
Yeah.
I don't watch it myself.
I don't watch the show either. We're those people. But the creators of Game of Thrones have announced that they're going to create a new television show after Game of Thrones is over that depicts an alternate history where the Confederacy won the Civil War, and that affected the course of history, of course. Which caused a major outrage. Which begs the question, and this is our topic for the segment today. How do we handle fiction and art in general? How do we handle the expression, artistic expression, in today's society, basically?
Yeah.
Where everything is so tense and it's about, dealing with oppression and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. How do we handle the arts? Because so what happened was, once this show was announced, everybody, like, people came at it, because they were like, oh, we right now we can't have a show like this. We can't have a show where white supremacy won, because it furthers the oppression of black people, which it doesn't. No. And and a real major issue became, some details that came out, and it was like, well, some of the characters who live in this alternate world were, and be part of this confederacy, they were going to be protagonists.
Yeah.
Not antagonists, protagonists. Depicted as good people. And they were just like, and the criticism came, well, they can't be good people because they are Confederates. And this alternate world, white supremacy won, you can't have these people as protagonists. You can't, because they're evil, they're wrong.
I mean, for one, that sounds like a really boring show to watch.
Right.
Where every character is a fucking evil person.
But, yeah, exactly.
Sorry, let me cut right to the chase.
But, so, on the opposite side of the spectrum, Aaron McGruder, Aaron McGruder is still one of my heroes. Bring the Boondocks back, Aaron. Come on.
Bring it back.
We need Huey right now.
Oh, Lord, we do.
Because Uncle Ruckus would have been marching yesterday in that rally. Aaron McGruder is writing a show that's going to be on Amazon Prime. And it's an alternate history show as well. And in this alternate history, the Union won the war, just like ours. But the freed slaves were given 3 southern states. And these were I think it's called the Black States of America or something like that.
Yeah.
And the response to this from, your alt-right people, your great defenders of whiteness, was, this show promotes white genocide. Which is my favorite statement in the world, because everything now promotes white genocide.
Promotes white genocide.
Fucking Cheerios commercial with an interracial couple
promotes white genocide.
Like, everything that shows any other race of people promotes white genocide.
Yes.
But they were saying it promotes white genocide, and it's racist against white people, and it's gonna...
that's my favorite one.
Yeah.
Racist against white people. Yeah, totes.
Basically, they're parroting the same thing the other side was saying about the Confederate show on AMC. Not AMC, fuck. HBO. Too many letters. So, and it confused me as to what we think fiction is. Because these shows are fiction. They're not real.
Yeah.
They're not...
Wait, they're not?
Oh, no. Because alternate history doesn't tip you off. They're not...
Is that what alternate means?
They're not real. These shows have to be, like, nuanced. They have to be nuanced. They have to have protagonists. They have to have concepts that draw people in. It's fiction. It has to be... They have to be things that people want to see.
Yes.
But it's not real. As for the Confederate show, from the creators of the Game of Thrones, You cannot have an alternate history show about the Confederacy and have, like Esme was saying, you can't have everybody evil and just have the good people just be the slaves, because then you have a slave show.
Ooh, and this
Which
reminds
I would
me
watch,
of a quote
but-
that I know you would. This reminds me of a quote that I found earlier this week on Facebook, which is that the line between good and evil doesn't run between people to where the good people are on one side and the evil people are on the other.
Exactly.
The line between good and evil runs through the heart of every man.
Right. We live in a world that seems to exist, that thinks it exists in polars, that things can only be one thing or another, and that things are always either black or white. There's only good or evil. That is not the case. That has never been the case. There can be good people on the evil side of things and evil people on the good side of things,
What?
quote unquote. Dr. King said, there's a little good in the worst of us, and a little bad in the best of us. We don't exist in a world where everybody is good or evil.
Yeah.
So if you have a show, a fiction show, that presents an alternate reality where who we consider the bad guys won, which this has been the conceit behind many great works of fiction.
Yes.
Like, this is nothing new, because people, like, we as people constantly think, well, what would have happened if things would have turned out differently? This is something that's in our heads already. Fiction writers capitalize on these thoughts because they know it's already in people's heads. So they try to present a scenario where it plays off. They present possibilities. These aren't real. These are just things that people have thought about. They go, oh, that would be interesting. That's what fiction is. It's not real. Sorry. And side note, you're dealing with a African American Studies major, a history major, and an English major.
And that's just Keem.
Yeah, that's me.
I am none of those things.
But you can't write a work of fiction where especially in an alternate history like that, where everyone is evil. You can't. That's not something anybody wants to read. That's not something it's real. That's not something that's true to reality. That's just not how it works. And we can't put these limitations on fiction. We can't be the people who go, well, you can't write this piece of fiction, something that's made up, because it's offensive, or it has characters who might be offensive to someone. It's fiction. You can either read it or you don't.
Yeah.
Like, it's not real. And for me, I'm against hate speech, obviously.
Yeah.
I am one of those people who go, if there's somebody speaking hate speech, it should be stopped, or something should be done about it. And that's a whole nother argument that I'm going to have probably pretty soon on the show.
Sound a little more angry.
But fiction is different. Fiction is like art. It's what the person gets out of it. It's what the person gets out of it more than what the artist intended. So you can't really go. You can't really decide that it's promoting something. You can't do that, because it's not. It's even then, it's not what the artist intends. It's what the person gets out of it. That's fiction. So, and on Aaron Magruder's side of things, you got to say a similar thing. You can't say it promotes white genocide. I mean, you can say it, but that's what you're getting out of it, and that's probably not true. You never know what the artist intends. It's what you get out of it, and we can't live in a world where we halt art. We decide that what art can and cannot be done because of what the person gets out of it. That's the entire point of art.
Yes.
That's like, one of my favorite books is a novel called Black No More. It postulates a world where this scientist comes up with a way to turn black people into white people, at least on a cosmetic level.
Yeah.
And all this different stuff happens. Blah, blah, blah. There is no way that in this environment, in the environment where the HBO show and the Aaron Magruder show are so heavily criticized for coming up with postulating things, which coming up with fake possibilities. There's no way that book would probably exist. Could be written today. Because people would lose it.
No, I disagree, because people don't pay attention to books
Oh,
the
yeah,
way that
people
they
don't.
do to TV.
That's right. People don't read anymore. But because that's another thing I need to be angry about.
Oh, did you hear about the resurgence of hardcover of actual physical books being sold? It's because of the new Instagram trend of shelfies, where you take pictures of your bookshelf and put it on Instagram. So
I hate everything that's happening right now. I hate everything that's happening right. What the hell happened?
But it's spurring the sale of actual books.
Yeah, but they're not reading them.
The first step to buying a book, or the first step to reading a book, is to have the book.
See, this is another problem. This is a problem with this fall woke crowd. They want to appear like they're going on social media, and they want to appear like they're intelligent, they're woke and stuff, and they're taking selfies and buying books just to show off how great they are and how they're doing this and that, and they probably haven't fucking read it. Oh.
Yeah.
All right, sorry. But yes, we can't live in a world where fiction and art itself is so heavily policed, because some, if not all, of the greatest pieces of art and literature are problematic. They're problematic. They're controversial. But that's what makes them great.
Yeah.
That's like, I've gotten to an argument about the guy who does the Cthulhu mythos.
Lovecraft.
Lovecraft, super racist dude.
Yes.
Super racist
Yes.
dude. And I got into the discussion on whether, because of his personal beliefs, whether it is okay for a black person to read his literature. And my answer was this. His personal beliefs, especially with him being dead,
Yes.
his personal beliefs don't matter to the art. Those works of literature are good on their own merit. What the reader is getting out of them is what the reader is reading out of them. Every English class I've ever been to where they said, hey, what's the author trying to say? I don't know what they're trying to say, but I write what I think they're trying to say. Because that is what that is what art is. So it's okay for you to read the fiction of someone that you probably don't believe, like you probably don't agree with their personal beliefs. Most of the people I've read, I don't agree with their personal beliefs in fiction. Because a lot of the great fiction writers of all time were racist, they were anti-Semites, they were sexist, they were shitty people.
Yes. That is true.
Actually, I'm going to say this right now. Most artists Whether it's in literature, whether it's in music, whether it's in art. Most artists are likely shitty people.
Most humans are likely shitty
exactly.
people.
In some way, shape, form, or fashion, they were shitty people. Hell, you want to go? We can go even further. Gandhi was a racist. Martin Luther King was a womanizer, and he cheated on his wife. Malcolm X at one point was a sex worker.
That doesn't make him a bad person.
That's not a bad person. But
dude, don't shame sex workers.
No, sorry, I'm not shaming sex workers. I'm talking societally.
Okay,
like
yeah.
people would say that's bad. Like no one is black and white, and thus art is not black and white. So we can't do what we're doing to artistic expression. And also we can't hide artistic expression.
Yeah.
Like we can't take things that weren't offensive back in the day but are offensive now. We can't take them and hide them. We can't ban books. We shouldn't ban movies. Because even if they're terrible by today's standards, we need to talk about that.
Yeah.
But these things exist to spark conversation. We can't hide it. There was I feel like I'm going on, like, I feel like I'm just driving this car here.
I mean, I knew that you were going to. This is your rant. Although I have something to chip in later, but...
There was a thing by Whoopi Goldberg recently where Whoopi Goldberg was like, Disney needs to re-release Song of the South. And everybody I know was like tripping. It's like, Whoopi, how could you? You just... And they went as far as calling Whoopi Goldberg a coon and all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. But Whoopi Goldberg's point was, this movie was problematic. This movie was very, very problematic. And these are things we need to talk about. We need to confront our history. We need to confront the history of our society and its expression through art. We need to talk about these things. Leave in the racist ass crows in Dumbo. Them jive talking Jim Crows. Leave them in there.
I always liked them. They looked like they were having so much fun.
The fucked up thing about the crows in Dumbo were they were entertaining as
They
fuck.
had more fun than anybody in that damn movie.
I mean, super racist, but goddamn, those crows were awesome.
Everybody else in the movie was fucking depressed.
My God, and hell, even like Jesus Christ. But yes, you can't eliminate these things because even if they are bad, they spark conversation. Conversation we need to talk about because we act like these attitudes, these problematic attitudes, are a thing of the past. But as these past couple of days, with what happened in Virginia and what's still happening now, is plainly showing that these attitudes are still a problem. They are still an issue. And to try to hide the fact that they've always been an issue, or that they were an issue but aren't anymore, is silencing a conversation that needs to be had.
Yeah.
And I'm also very tired of people going, you can't do something that's divisive. You can't make a piece of art that's divisive because it's going to divide our country, and we don't need that right now. Motherfuckers, we've always been divided. There's never been a point where there wasn't division, whether it's black, white, or white and everybody else in this country. Poor, rich, heterosexual, homosexual. There's always religions. There's always divisions. Saying someone we got to be together. This is gonna divide us. No, it's not. We've always been divided. Stop using that as an excuse to smother something that you don't want to see. or you think might disrupt your life.
Yeah.
We need to stop backing away from controversy. Controversy should be confronted, not backed away from.
Yeah, except we live in a world where we have decided, particularly where white people have learned that they don't need to address anything that makes them feel uncomfortable.
Right.
They can just avoid it.
And you can't.
I felt that way for a long time, and then I started dating you.
Yep.
Lol.
And speaking to some other conversations I've had recently with a bunch of people, you can't run away from things. You can't run away from reality. You can't hide controversy. You can't ignore it. Say it's not real. You can't blame this and that for the very real problems in society. You can't. It's not the Aaron Magruder show. That's it's not the Aaron Magruder show. That's not promoting white genocide. It's not the HBO show, and it's not promoting black people should be enslaved. It's fiction. It's just ideas that people had in their head that they wrote down.
And more, this is where the piece that I was going to say is coming in, because we haven't got there yet, which is these things, these two shows in particular, are being created at this specific point in time. The creators of these shows are not living in a vacuum to where they are not aware of the implications of these narratives that they're telling.
Right.
They are providing the American people, the kind of people who watch these HBO shows. They are providing us with a lens with which to view what's happening in our country now.
Like, they want you to see. Like, they want you to form an opinion.
Yes, they want you to look at this alternate ending to history. This other way that our history could have gone, and they want you to look at it and watch it, and then look at the reality of America now, given what did actually happen in our history, and see what is still wrong with our country, where these attitudes are. These are not... I would be frankly extremely surprised if these are doing what the people who are critical of them are saying, right? Glorifying the ideas of the Confederacy, or promoting separatism. I would be frankly extremely surprised if you dig into them and find that that's what they are actually saying, right? Given the things that are happening in our country right now. They chose these narratives to tell at this time in American history on purpose. And it's Hollywood. Hollywood is typically nicely liberal.
It's very similar to the Man in the High Castle, which is a very popular show right now, where Nazis won World War II.
Yeah.
There are, like, there's reasons people want you to see this, like, and it's very odd to me that no one said anything about that show, because in that show there are some people who are Nazis that are, good. They're protagonists of the show.
Yeah.
It's very odd that no one said anything about that, and I wonder why. Like, that's a legit question. I wonder why. It also makes me think...
What network is that on?
Amazon Prime.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah.
Because nobody watches Amazon Prime.
People do watch Amazon Prime, surprisingly.
I don't watch Amazon Prime.
Yeah. You don't have any streaming services.
I have Netflix.
You got one. You got the one everybody has. You have the Domino's of streaming services.
What's wrong with that?
I'm not saying anything. I love Netflix.
The look that you just gave me said that you think that there's something wrong with that.
Hey, Netflix, sponsor us.
Netflix, sponsor us.
Also, Amazon.
Netflix is great.
Also, Amazon Prime, we said your name a lot. Sponsor us.
Yes, Amazon Prime, sponsor us.
But yeah, it also reminds me of, so there's a video game series called Wolfenstein. And in video games, the Nazis are enemies in just about everything, because they're Nazis. We had wars to decide that Nazis were bad guys. 6 million Jews disappearing firmly planted Nazis as bad guys in the annals of history.
Yeah. You read too much and don't talk out loud enough.
Yeah. Shut up.
No? It would be a weird episode if I shut up.
Yeah.
Especially considering that the sex segment is coming up next.
And then we'll talk about the anal. No, I'm saying.
No, you're gonna like what we're talking about this week.
Anyway,
it's relevant.
Nazis are firmly entrenched as the bad guys because they were fucking awful. I mean, there might have been some people in the Nazi party that were less awful, but as a whole, Nazism bad.
Nazism is bad, guys.
Also,
I don't know if you can tell based on what's happening in our country right now, but Nazis are bad.
Despite what the Nazis are trying to tell you.
Despite what 45 is trying to tell you.
And we call them like it is. They're not the alt-right, they're Nazis.
They're Nazis.
Yeah, but Nazis are bad. Okay? That's what we're getting at here. So
wait, I forget. Are Nazis good or bad?
Bad.
Okay, good. Glad we cleared that up.
But the video game Wolfenstein recently... Wolfenstein is another video game that presents an alternate history where the Nazis won. And the character is a freedom fighter. I think he's Jewish. His name's B.J. Blazkowicz, so...
Yeah, he's Jewish.
Who is fighting to free the world from the Nazis.
Good. Because Nazis are bad.
So they announced Wolfenstein 2, like after they rebooted it a few months ago, during E3, and there was such an outcry from people going, the game was liberal propaganda because you were killing Nazis. The game developers were trying to portray the Nazis as evil. I think the Nazis did that before anyone else did.
Yeah.
Our favorite, this game was promoting genocide, white genocide. So this
because Nazis are white,
right? I mean, yeah, that's kind of the whole thing, though.
Yeah.
When you build a belief structure based on the superiority of white people, people just kind of tend to think you're a piece of shit, and then you kill people. But no, people were all over this game. It's like whatever, and it just blew my mind at the world we're living in right now. Oh. What happened?
Trump empowered blatant white supremacy? That's what I'm going with.
But I think all in all, and I said it 1,000 times in this segment, the point is we have to protect art. We have to protect artistic expression. Because without art, we don't think.
Yes.
Even, like, and art is one of those things where it's not a direct effect on our psyches. It's not a direct, like, something telling us what to think. Art inspires you to think, and you think for yourself of what comes out of it. Any artistic expression, down to like the guy Dred Scott.
Yeah. People
got what they got out of his. They get what he get out of his artwork, and you guys should go look up Dred Scott.
Yes, Dred Scott is amazing. He's fantastic.
You get, like, art inspires you to think, and what you think is going to be based on you. It's going to be based on what you get out of it. Anytime you look at a painting or read a book or watch a television show, a fictionalized television show, not a documentary series or whatever. Well, most of those are fictionalized anyway.
Tell us how you really feel.
But when you see those things, it's what you get out of it.
Yeah.
And you can't keep people from getting something out of it. Because, yeah, they might get something bad out of it. But someone might pull something spectacular out of it.
Yeah.
They can pull something inspiring. And this is the difference between art and speech. Speech often speaks directly to someone, often telling people what to think, what to do. Art is indirect. Art provides a platform. Art provides an inspiration. And you take it from there.
Yeah, art is not a static thing. Art is an interaction between you, the art, and the world.
Right.
It is a lens with which to view reality.
And we can't suppress it. We can't suppress art. We can't burn books. We can't hassle people, fiction writers, into not writing their works. We can't go to art galleries or other like performance art and shut them down. We can't stop them from expressing because we don't like it. Because it's not for you to like or dislike, it's for you to get what you get out of it. It's about that interaction. And you can't stifle other people from getting it. Like I said, that's the difference between speech and art. It's up to you. And you can't take that from someone else. Mm-hmm. I guess that's it for me. I think I've gone on long enough.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add?
I don't think so. I spoke my piece.
But yes, everyone be on the lookout. Everybody go look up Dred Scott.
D-R-E-A-D.
Yeah, like dreads.
Right. D-R-E-D gets you a historical figure.
Which,
also important.
Yeah,
you
also need to go
Dred
look that
Scott,
up if you don't.
But for the one who makes art, D-R-E-A-D. Go look him up. I got a chance to see him speak. He came to Memphis last fall sometime. Last September, I think. I got a chance to go see him speak. It was amazing. It was pretty fantastic.
But yes, go look up Dred Scott. Go give Aaron Magruder some support, please. Please get him out of hiding. We need
him back. Ask him to bring back the Boondocks.
Yes. But yeah, I guess with all that, we are going to move into the sex segment after another brief little musical interlude.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I'll sit it off first. Alright. A chance to test it, can you hear me clear? A youngin' bucket for the top spot, so fear thee dear. Atomic with the flow, you swear this shit was nuclear. I come to body this shit, but you just merely hear that feeling you got in your heart. Yo, is that really fear? When I appear, calmly resting when did this cheer. In Arizona can, let me sip this tea right here. The blitz is coming for you like the Broncos did this year. Aspiring to be a part of the talented tent. My ears that took the negativity, my dear. I swear, it's not easy when the odds are stacked against me being being black and living freely. Then black, your blind on TV, but the boys could really see me. 2 hands holding 3 degrees. He probably charge a fee weekly. See the bars and bullet from immediately. I aspire for others to be free. Came from my brother so deeply, but my mother turns on their TV. It's another cold case like a D free. So I stick to myself and try. Got the size of the crowd that sit below me, holding me, wanna control me, but try to understand what's coming from my breath. The words I write with the pencil. Even the Skywalker couldn't begin to harness the force. Look in my left eye and see the potential. And see I'm capable of all that and more. Don't try to see the answer, this the TLC. Those bars got pedicures, they look like female feet. You can't make me choke, you can't spree well me. This here exclusive content, just call it a DLC.
We don't have to try so hard cause we spit real rap. We decided we should bring the real back. Everything you spitting, we don't feel that. Stupidity is selling and it's real whack. Everybody in the game is sold out. What happened to our rappers got no soul now. As long as we are breathing, we won't hold out. But you know what they say about a closed mouth. I'm always wearing blue cause I'm so cold. But I never make it in the big leagues cause I won't sell my soul. All these other niggas follow, they don't seem to know that only dead fish go with the flow. That's what the fuck I'm saying. Everybody follows anybody else, but that's not me, I'm thinking for myself. I got a brain, don't need no help. I could give a damn about the words you say, and I could give a fuck about the way you felt. Cause everybody wants to be the same. If you're different, then you're lame. Nobody gives a damn about the lyrics, they just want the fucking fame. No matter what the situation, I will never change. It's only real nigga pumping through my veins. I wish they take it back to when the music was hot, but everybody's rapping just so they'll have a shot. The thing about originality is that you cannot copy anybody else, but you just rap what you jot. My nigga, that ain't real rap. Nigga, I don't feel that. You say your lyrics go bananas, but that's why I peel back. Everything coming out your mouth is real rap. I spit the heritage, I make you feel black. I gotta give it up to all these niggas talking tough, but never really had to prove yourself cause you ain't had it rough. That's why your lyrics lacking, everything you say's a bluff. No matter how you rap, it still won't be enough. I know you think you got it in the bag, but before you start to brag, like a youngin' putting his cheeks up to the window, I'ma show my ass. You might just feel like you the champ, but that'll never last. You shouldn't talk about what you ain't never had. When it comes to music, I'm the Don. I ain't the best, but I'm the bomb. It's gonna always be a hater around the corner, but I'm not the one. Can't you see that I'm a savage kid? I'm Rep Genghis Khan. Fuck around with me, I fuck your mom. We don't have to try so hard cause we spit real rap. We decided we should bring the real back. Everything you spitting, we don't feel that. Stupidity is selling and it's real whack. Everybody in the game is sold out. What happened to our rappers got no soul now. As long as we are breathing, we won't hold out. But you know what they say about a closed mouth.
Hey y'all, welcome back. Thanks to our musical guest this week, and it is now time for the sex segment.
Bow, chicka, wow, wow.
Woo!
Bow, bow.
And in keeping with our theme of fiction, I have decided to go, today we're going to be talking about erotica.
Oh.
What was that for? What? Now you can't see. Keem is making very strange faces at me. I don't understand what his deal is.
I have a unique relationship with erotica.
Oh.
Well, just people around me have, like, it's just crazy.
I'm curious.
Just go on
Story
finish.
time?
No, you start, I'll finish, come back in later.
Okay. So, for those of you who are completely out of the loop, erotica is just, it's like written down porn, right? It is sexy stories. And there's lots of different genres of it, but it's just a written medium of sexual fiction.
Y'all know those old school Fabio books? Yeah, no one can see me, but I'm faking doing my hair in the wind.
No, you failed, and also I grew up on those, so don't talk bad about them.
It's Fabio.
That type of paperback fueled some of my earliest sexual experiences, for better or for worse. So there's that. I had a handful that I was super obsessed with.
I'm pretty sure you had a handful.
Shut up. There were several that I was super obsessed with, and the themes there still show up in my fantasy life today. So that's a thing. So the thing that's great about erotica, though, is that it gives you an opportunity to explore a lot of different things. That's the thing that I like it the best for, right? Is using it to explore a lot of different themes, a lot of different ideas, a lot of different sexual experiences without having to go actually seek them out yourself to do in real life. Maybe it's something that you're not sure if you would enjoy. Maybe it's something that is impractical for you. I will tell you, I read an awful lot of non-consenty gay male erotica. I am not a gay male. It is really not a possibility for me to go out and do these things, but it's extremely hot to read about them. Just saying, right? It's a way to explore different, like, ideas with different people, or like, it's a way to explore different sexual ideas than what you would be able to experience in real life. And a way to explore different kinds of kinks before you pursue them. And a way to explore different kinds of sexual experiences before or without pursuing them. Right? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. You okay?
Yeah.
Keem is just freaking out a little bit over here. So that's what I use erotica for, right? I have said before, back when we talked about porn, I don't watch a lot of porn. I blame a lot of that on the fact that when I was coming of age, right, when I was coming into my sexual self, I didn't have a lot of access to the internet. I didn't have access to that visual porn medium, but I did have ready access to the kinds of smutty romance novels that you see with the guy with his shirt torn open and hair flowing in the wind, right? I had access to those, and so I learned to access my fantasy life through that medium, through the written down medium, and still so most of the things that I do are through that medium. I typically go to Literotica, literotica.com, which is a user-submitted site. As far as I know, they don't have anything by way of quality control. Anybody can submit anything that they want. And then there's a rating system to where readers can vote on what is best. They keep metrics on what's accessed. So typically the stuff that floats up to the top is okay. But there's a lot there, and it's very searchable. You can search by keywords. They have it broken down into different categories, and it's a way to explore just different kinds of things. Like I said, I read a lot of non-consenty stuff, which would obviously be, illegal to pursue straight up. You could go the route of consensual non-consent, right? Like to negotiate this kind of scene. But this is actually not something that I am interested in playing with. I don't want to play with the consensual non-consent in real life. I don't want to do that. But I do really like having that in my fantasy life. Mm-hmm. For whatever reason.
Because it's fantasy.
Because it's fantasy. And there's a lot of themes that show up in that now that I've been thinking more about sex and thinking more about kink lately, a lot of things are showing up in that are part of this non-consent fantasies that I typically seek out, that are parts of what I bring into my sexual experiences, right? Like different kinds of power play, like physical, like kind of primal physicality, wrestling and pushing each other around. He was laughing. You shouldn't laugh like that when we're on air. but different kinds of things like that. There's like a sexual objectification thing that I bring into various sexual encounters, right, where one person is being explicitly used for the sexual pleasure of the other person, but this isn't really like a non-consenty type of play that I'm doing with the people that I do it with. That's not how it feels, but it is very much objectification. These are all themes that show up in the non-consent erotica that I read, but I can, now that I have been able to tease those out of these stories, I know that those are the parts of that fantasy that I want to actually experience. I'm not really interested in doing any kind of like play with rape. I'm not interested in doing that, but I am interested in these other parts of these fantasies. But yeah, erotica can be a way to access all sorts of different things, right? It can be a way to work through stuff that would be shitty to bring another person into, right? Like one of the big categories on a couple of the big categories on like literotica, there's one for like incest and taboo, there's one for like race stuff, which obviously would be really shitty or illegal, in either case really unethical, to bring another person into that, especially non-consensually, like when we're talking about the race stuff, to like bring your own racial shit into a relationship with somebody non-consensually is a fucking horrible thing to do to a partner. But accessing that through erotica can be a way to work through that and keep that from harming another person, right? It's not necessarily that, it's not that you're like you're not indulging that, and you're not experiencing that in a way that is harmful to another person, right? You are able to work through that.
Basically, if you have a thing that's kind of fucked up, it's a way of, you know what, keeping that thing to yourself.
Yeah. Right.
And I think we all need to learn that in multiple levels of our society. If you kind of fucked up, I would just keep it to yourself.
Right. And even with a lot of this stuff, right? Like, there are a lot of fantasies that have tremendous power over people. And experiencing those fantasies through this medium of erotica can help you take some of the power that they have away from it, to where now if you still feel like you need to experience, like if you still want to like if you still want to do race role play of some kind, now you can approach somebody and negotiate that without it being a thing that you have to do with this person, right? You are able to have them say no to you, right? Because you are not so hung up on this thing that it is going to break you to hear them say no to you. Right. Which, I don't know.
Can I tell a kind of embarrassing story? And it's one of my only interactions with erotica.
Yes.
Because erotica's not really my thing. You know, I like reading, but I don't like to read things that give me boners.
Yes.
So one of my early forays into online dating, there was this woman from Arkansas, and you know, we talked for a few weeks. She started sending like nudes and blah blah blah, you know, as young people do. So she asked me one time if we could read passages from 50 Shades of Grey together. And this was right when that got popular. Like, before the movies and all this stuff, before it was, like, international phenomenon. Like, when it was just getting popular, could we read it together? And I was just like, sure. And we were reading it. It was, like, nothing for me. I was just like, Like, but she got, like, she was getting, like, so just, like, riled up and, like, like getting off and all this stuff, and that was like my first like real like sexual interaction with a woman, and it was so weird. Like, it was so strange to me. It wasn't strange to her, but it was just so strange to me. I was just like, this is happening. I'm just reading passages from a book right now, and she is going to town on herself. It's like, then not soon after that, we kind of stopped talking to each other.
No.
Yeah, it was very strange. Like, it was strange to me. It's less strange to me now, but it was always strange to me. And I always think back to, like, that was my first, like, intense sexual interaction with someone. It's crazy. No, not crazy, but caught myself.
You did catch yourself. Well done.
Yeah. Oh, but I would also like to add something in regards to erotica.
Yep.
Because
I hope it's in regards to erotica. That's what we're talking about.
You mentioned like the novels and stuff.
Yeah.
But there is a section of erotica that is gained a lot of popularity recently, and that is erotic manga.
Yeah.
Which I've read some erotic manga. I don't read it often, but I am a more visual person. Like, I usually need to see things to, get me going, more than but manga actually combines the visual and the reading that works very well, for me. I don't do it often.
What comic book nerd you?
Yeah. But yeah, from the comic book nerd to me. And there's so much erotic manga out there. You have your regular hentai, which is just, hentai goes from basic sex to really out there shit like tentacles and such.
I do like tentacles.
There's oh god.
Come on, you know that I read elsewhere.
Yeah, it's true. There's your furry, of course. Furry. I have opinions about furry.
Well then.
It's weird. It's not weird, but
you're weird.
My brain is weird with it. Yes. Not like
okay.
Yeah.
Finish your thing.
Sorry, furry. Then you have Yuri, which is lesbian, usually women. Yaoi, which is usually homosexual men. And Yuri and Yaoi are generally geared towards women. There's actually a confusingly titled one called Yuri on Ice, and it's a...
Oh, I've heard of this.
It's Yaoi, which is male, but I've heard it's very good. I haven't read it, but I've heard good things from just people who like manga. Like,
yeah.
So go check out Yuri on Ice, which is not Yuri, it's Yaoi. But there's also these are Japanese names. So Bankunyu, which is usually with women with oversized breasts. Usually to like gigantic proportions, but if you're into that, that's there. There's Bara, which is kind of the other end of that on the man spectrum. It's beefcake dudes, usually gown guy. Of course, there's harem, or in reverse harem. But there's a ton of erotic manga out there. So if you're not If you like to read, but you still are more of a visual person, you can still go get that with manga.
Well, and also you're leaving out the entire thing of the webcomics.
Yeah, I kind of lump that in there. There are webcomics out there for everything.
They're not lumped in with manga, though.
Yeah.
They're different. They are distinct visual genres. If you want to know Go to Slipshine. Just go to Slipshine, guys. There's a million of them. They're amazing. My favorites right now happen to be The Rock Cocks, which is through Slipshine, and Elsewhere Comic, which is definitely tentacly. Also magic-y. Very magic-y. The main character in Elsewhere is like a wizard of some kind.
It's also very trans.
It's super trans. That's what I'm saying, right? It's the main character is a wizard of some kind who's AFAB, who has a vulva, but then is able to conjure like a working penis that's made of magic.
Basically, if you
it's really hot.
Basically,
guys. It's really hot.
Basically, if you like tentacle sex,
if you like tentacles and magic, you're
tentacle
good.
sex and D&D, that's your
WoW.
Yeah.
There's WoW characters like that show up, like WoW race. It's a whole thing, guys. It's a whole thing. In any case, like one of the major characters is a Draenei. Like it's a whole thing, and it's amazing.
Also, if you're looking for something that's both erotic and a lot of the times hilarious, Olaf.
Yeah, I like Olaf.
Olaf, yeah. Olaf is good.
Olaf, half the time it's sexy, and half the time it's not. Yeah. But all of the time it's bizarre.
Yeah.
But the other things that I was going to recommend, so Literotica, like I said, is user submitted. You could go, if you like characters that already exist, you probably already know about fanfiction. I don't read a lot of
fanfiction. Okay, I'm just gonna give you this. Fanfiction.net. You can find everything you like. If you want erotic stuff, fanfiction.net. If you just want to read some shit about Super Mario, fanfiction.net.
He knows the things.
There are also some that, admittedly, my sister is my sister is she's very into erotica and manga.
Talking about somebody else's stuff.
Oh no, because they don't know who this is, and
okay.
So I'm going to ask her for recommendations for people out there. She's very knowledgeable. That's what I'm saying. Like, she's very knowledgeable. She can give you the good stuff.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
If you like queer erotica, I got your back. Just go to the Sugar Butch Chronicles. Keem is giving me a look. Go to Sugar Butch Chronicles. I read one this morning. Yesterday morning. That was freaking amazing. It was so hot. It was so hot and so queer and so kinky, and it was amazing. Sinclair Sexsmith is awesome. They write at Sugar Butch Chronicles. They're also published in a lot of different anthologies, including many of the ones that are edited by Tristan Taormino, which, by the by, go get yourself some anthologies that are edited by Tristan Taormino. She's amazing and is able to gather really good work. Also, all sorts of feminist-y kinds of stuff. So, yay for feminist, ethical stuff.
Oh, I also want to say for black people. I'm sorry, many if we have any black listeners out there.
Yeah, lots of
honestly,
our listeners are white.
Yeah,
not all of them though.
Not all of them. We got some, which we more because man, I'm black and I want black people to listen.
Get some more black people to listen.
For those of you who haven't heard of them, but a really popular black erotic writer who I've read and many of people have read. He's very I think it's she actually. Not sure. Very popular, but Zane. Go look up Zane because it's black-centered erotica, black cast. It's well written. Zane even had some TV shows, some erotic television shows that were on. So yeah, go check out Zane.
Yes. All right.
I guess that brings us to the end of our show.
Yeah.
let's see. We'll have links and stuff to whatever we can provide, as always.
Lots of erotica, guys. Porn comics, porn stories. The way we do.
Next week, our show, we're still trying to figure out what we're going to do. It was going to be the questions, but
y'all motherfuckers fell down on a job and didn't send us any questions.
we don't have any questions. We're also in talks to possibly talk to someone, but
which could get interesting.
it could very, very much get interesting. A lot of this extra spice y'all getting today is a good meter for that. By the next show, I will be in Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn!
So, I mean, be ready for some things in our show and in our page, some new on our show and on our page on Facebook and stuff. New experiences. You're gonna get some culture shock from me. Hopefully, get some new outlooks, some new voices, some new people. I'm gonna have a pool of people to pick from to be guests on the show.
Yes.
So look forward to that. I
appreciate your alliteration there, by the way.
Thank you. I am also still raising money for the trip to Brooklyn. I honestly don't have quite enough to move. I am doing what I'm using what I have, which is not a lot to move. But if anybody is willing to share and donate to my GoFundMe, because now the money that will get there will be used for my survival.
Yeah.
Because the brother might starve.
Don't starve.
And I'm too pretty to starve. You want these cheeks to get all bony? Nah.
You don't have a thing for lanky dudes.
Yeah, no. So I don't want these cheeks to get bony. So if you would like to see me continue to be on the show alive and not podcasting from beyond the grave and like you want to see me eat, please help out. Share it if you donate, if you can. Like, I am happy with sharing because that means a lot. Even if you can't donate, just sharing it, that means you care, and that means a lot to me. So if you want to help out with that, my GoFundMe link will be posted. Anything else? What else do we need? Special thanks to our musical guests.
Yay!
Great as always. Hopefully we're going to have more musical guests.
I've got a few lined up.
Yes,
we're good.
And I'm going to go to Brooklyn and try to, find some people to bring on the show.
Yay.
Was there anything else?
I don't think so.
I did want to say with everything that's been going on and what continues to go on, I just want to say for those listening who care, y'all just don't give up. It's rough. I know it's taxing mentally and emotionally and even physically. Everything that's happening, you probably feel like things are getting hopeless. Sometimes you probably even feel like no differences can be made, that things won't get better. But we have to keep fighting. We have to keep our heads up. We can't let the darkness take us.
Yeah.
So everyone out there who's in need of a little encouragement, who in needs of a little spark to keep fighting, just know that, hey, we're here, we feel you, and we're all together. We're holding fast together, and we're gonna keep fighting. We're gonna keep fighting until the war is won. So keep your head up. We got this.
Yep.
I guess that's it.
Yeah.
This has been episode 28 of the Outer Voices podcast.
You got sexy there for a second.
Yes, it did. as always, this has been Keem and Esme, and we are out.
But there are these things that matter, and they really fucking matter. There's like 4 things that matter, and they really fucking matter. I mean, objectively, I mean, you should care, especially you, if you thought about it for 5 fucking minutes.